This is Outnumbered. I'm Andrea Tantaros, and here with us today, Harris Faulkner from our sister network, Fox Business's Dagan McDowell. Actress Stacey Dash is back, and today's So, JW, you like to say that when people are in your world, right?
Yes.
Now, are you in our world now?
No,
Or are we
you guys
still
are
in your
still
world?
in my world right here.
Really? Waters World is now a subset.
Oh, you think so?
It's going to be Stormy Waters. You think you're in your
That's
waters.
my stage
That
name.
is your stage
Don't
name.
tell anybody about that.
I know where you sit, and I know what your desk looks like, so be very careful.
Well, I moved desks, so you don't have any idea.
I know
now.
where you do. You're down the hall, my friend.
Stormy
That's right.
got it. He's moving up in the world, like the Jeffersons. Okay, a hostage drama that could have serious implications for the war on terror is raising serious questions about how far countries will go to get their people home. Congressman Duncan Hunter also points out Bergdahl was initially held by the Taliban-aligned Haqqani network, which technically has been declared a terror group. Okay, so doesn't Hunter just sum it up? This administration has egg on its face, specifically the White House, for that Rose Garden ceremony where they screwed up the terror trade, and now they're trying to play verbal gymnastics and say, okay, not really the Taliban, no, they're not a terrorist group. I think there's more confusion over now if they're a terrorist group, Jesse, or not, than how to pronounce Taliban versus Taliban.
Taliban, yeah, that's embarrassing when he's illegal immigrants. No, those are just undocumented workers. The Benghazi attack, that was a protest. And we all know jobs saved.
Because you know I do this sometimes.
To
a general, Robert Scales, because I got to be able to define it. Otherwise, you do two things.
Where they took refuge as their own separate state under the Taliban state. You're right, Stacey. And just to point out how out of the mainstream this administration 11. Harris, even though I just said the administration must think we're stupid, like Jonathan Gruber, we're not even that. I mean, the American people can see the videos of people being beheaded.
Right.
They can see that it's a real threat. I want to ask you something, because your boss, the big guy, Mr. Bill O'Reilly, always asks this question. He's going to ask me tonight. Why does this white, you think? Is it because they live in some kind of academic fantasy land where President Obama is romanticizing about the Islam that he speaks about in his Cairo speech, about the Islam of his youth? Or is it what Harris mentioned, that he would have to go back and concede that he got it's so wrong by calling them JV and really diminish the threat, and he doesn't admit that he's wrong? Or is it both?
I think Harris is our Ukrainian allies. He's not arming the Syrian rebels, but he's arming Mexican drug cartels with Fast and Furious guns. And look what's happened on his watch. He's built confidence in the American people, and all he's done is try to release terrorists from Gitmo and declare that the war is over. Well, guess what? It's not.
Well, and when you're just starting.
Very quickly, Stacey, I want you to take a look at this poll that we want to highlight. 84% won't say the words radical Islam.
Because if they don't say the words, they don't.
Unfortunately, they're in bed, and we're standing out in the cold watching.
Down the war in Afghanistan, check the box on a political campaign goal, and they can close Gitmo and trade even more terrorists.
Right? Box checking.
Legacy.
All right. New audio tapes reportedly show top Pentagon officials distrusted Secretary.
I don't care if the woman does yoga or not. It doesn't matter to me.
Excellent.
But let me ask you guys. So Dagan, when you go out and you're wearing yoga pants.
I don't wear your potato salad.
Oh, stop.
That looks true.
No,
It
you
kinda
don't.
is.
There's no way.
Notice men leering, and are you guys happy?
It's at you, and they will catcall. It doesn't matter, because they're dudes.
Okay. So
This sounds like we're going into the burqa territory. Men won't just be incited to become so passionate they can't help themselves. Is that the road we're going down here with this yoga pants drama?
I hope not. I wore yoga pants into work today, so. But the key is not wearing. You have to wear something a little bit over the yoga pants.
You do.
yeah,
I think so.
Why?
Because you can feel, because they're very form-fitting.
Oh, okay.
You know, so you've got to. I mean, most women do sort of mind their wardrobe with that. But listen, guys are all hopped up. They need to take cold showers and calm down. Our yoga pants are not the reason fueling this, you know, lust, shall we say. And I do think this columnist has deeper issues going on in her marriage if her husband cannot focus.
That is true.
That's what he's telling her. We don't really know how he feels, but I'm probably
yoga pants are not the problems. However, there is something happening across the ponds, and I think it's going to come here too. Men and tights. That's right. In the UK, 40. He's not just Jesse Waters. He's also Jesse Waters' male.
Washington in 1 hour-long show.
I think it's a
He's really something.
Wait till the after the show.
Men sit in the outnumbered seat, and they, you know, it's the hashtag one lucky guy thing.
That's right.
I'm
feeling lucky.
If you were to wear tights to the next O'Reilly meeting, what would Bill say?
Oh, boy.
I think he'd physically assault me.
But by the way, those tights are better.
We're still talking about Jesse and tights during the commercial break.
Long conversation.
Yes. You think some of your friends may be toxic and more trouble than they're worth? Well, guess what? There's a new app that tells you which friends to keep and which ones to dump. It's called
Don't bother you, cause like a rash or acne.
I put on the wristband.
I break out.
And every time we would get an email from you for the show,
right,
all of us, our blood pressure would just rise. Water's all cut from the same
No, I mean,
cloth.
if you need an app to tell you who your friends are, I had a friend when I was dating my wife who asked me to go out on a double date with him to be his wingman. She doesn't fire them, she just gently moves me in a
contact.
Good.
You know, one of the things that I've learned in my life is that you become most like the people. It's an app or whatever
I don't
it is.
become like anybody.
Jettison them as soon as
get rid of
possible, so that your game stays tight. You don't need
Friends, and I'll show you who you are.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So it is good to purge certain friends, I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sometimes they're family members too. That gets tough.
But I wouldn't want them to
purge
have
a
my
family
privacy
member?
information, would you?
Sorry, my
'Cause
app.
then they're reading your text.
Hey, Mom, my app.
It's not
Okay.
necessary, but
Mannyhose, terror swaps, we've got it all on Outnumbered Overtime. Everything. FoxNews.com/Outnumbered. Click the OT tab. We're back on TV tomorrow at noon Eastern. Happening Now with Patty and John.